Hey folks, this is Jeff with This Week with JTT. Let's give you a warning. This next video clip is going to be a bit graphic, so it's got to be anybody 18 over. That's it. But this is for any young women. Make sure that you tell these young girls, if you're trying to act a certain way, live a certain lifestyle, you fix empowering, that comes at a cost. I repeat, if you're trying to live a certain way in terms of being promiscuous like the other girls, it comes at a cost. The scary part, promiscuity for you young girls are getting younger and younger. You think 18 to start the age for them? No, some getting started as early as what? 13, 12. So young women, have to talk to these young girls in case they can follow a certain path. So here's a video. I'll give you a last commentary afterwards.
I regret being a slut. I'm grateful for the ability to control my reproductive cycle and make my own money. But that freedom has come at a price. The dark side of the sexual revolution is that even though it liberated women, unyoking sex from the consequences has primarily benefited men. But if I'm honest with myself, of the dozens of men I've been with, at least the ones I remember, I can only think of a handful I don't regret. The rest I would put in the category of casual, which I would define as sex that is either meaningless or mediocre or both. If I get really honest with myself, I'd say most of these usually drunken encounters left me feeling empty and demoralized and worthless. I wouldn't have said that at the time, though. At the time, I would have told you I was liberated, even while I tried to drink away the sick feeling of rejection while my most recent hookup didn't call me back. At the time, I would have said one-night stands made me feel emboldened. But in reality, I was using sex like a drug, trying unsuccessfully to fill a hole inside me with men. Pun intended. I know regretting most of my sexual encounters is not something a sex-positive feminist who used to write a column for Playboy is supposed to admit. And for years, I didn't. Let me be clear. Being a slut and sleeping with a lot of men is not the only behavior I regret. Even more damaging was what I told myself in order to justify the fact that I was disposable to these men. I told myself I didn't care. I didn't care when a man ghosted me. I didn't care when he left in the middle of the night or hinted that he wanted me to leave. The walks of shame, the blackouts, the anxiety. The lie I told myself for decades was, I'm not in pain, I'm empowered. I knew it would be hard to read this. I lost my virginity at 17 to my boss at a restaurant where I worked. And a year later, I experienced my first sexual trauma. I felt damaged and dirty, and I blame myself. Everyone responds differently to these situations. I dealt with the overwhelming shame by becoming hypersexual and promiscuous. The culture was right there to pick me up and dust me off. I doubled down on being a proud slut and internalized the biggest and most damaging lie, that loveless sex is empowering. I basked in the girl power glow of that delusion for decades, weaponizing my sexuality while convincing myself I was full of the divine feminine. I was full of shit. I told myself that because I could seduce a man, I was powerful. But as Perry says in her book, women can all too easily fail to recognize that being desired is not the same thing as being held in high esteem. Deep down inside, I knew that to be the case. But as a defense mechanism, I created a man-eater persona. My mantras were rigid. You can either have a career or a relationship, but you can't have both. Intimacy is creepy. Motherhood and children are a trap. Sex is only about power. Another set of lies built on trauma. When a man I slept with had the courtesy to reach out, I mistook relief for happiness, rewiring my brain to be grateful for the bare minimum. The saddest realization is how low I set the bar. A lifetime of allowing myself to be the other woman, taken for granted or treated like a doormat under the false pretense of being empowered, came to head one night with the arrival of a text message from an on-again, off-again lover. "Good night, baby, I love you," it said, quickly followed by, "Wrong person." Rock bottom doesn't always look like losing everything or ending up in jail. I wanted to be able to have meaningless sex like a guy, but it didn't work. Today's youth are fed an even more dangerous lie than the one that was fed about loveless sex. I was told sex doesn't matter. They're being told biology doesn't matter. This is a tragedy. I regret being a slut. I regret it because I regret that those men can say they slept with me. Gen X women in particular really relate to this, and it's like they're stumbling back from a war being like, go back. It was a lie. It's a trap. It just seems like women who have been sold this kind of millennials too, in particular, the like people who grew up with Sex in the City and this idea that we can just have sex with men consequence free and that it doesn't somehow damage our soul. A lot of women have said that they identify with this. The problem with so much of this stuff is that you keep doing damage to yourself. At least I did. In my attempt to keep proving to myself that sex was empowering, that I could have sex like a man, I kept damaging myself, damaging my spirit and soul in ways that I didn't really fully comprehend at the time. I was too young and I was too high or drunk in many instances. And you can see when I read the piece, it's still painful because I wish I knew better. And I guess part of the reason that I wrote this piece is for my daughter. I want her to know better. And for all the young women out there, you don't have to play that game. If you feel in your heart, like, I don't think I can have sex with someone and not get attached, and I don't know the person, and I feel like it's very intimate, you're right. That's true.
Like I said, it's a bit graphic, but you would think you'd be empowered. You think that you're emboldened. No, you end up pretty much destroying yourself slowly but surely. And in the end, does women try to be like men? No. Women got the natural, desire to couple with another man. And the woman can tell you, every time she thinks she's going to have that one guy to call her back, get back with her and all that stuff, it always ends in disappointment. She being on and on, off again romances and all that stuff. And this thing with the feminists try to feed you, thinking like it's okay to be like a guy, have all these different ex-lovers, is a lie. You're lying to yourself, and you're lying to the potential future husband. But don't lie to yourself. Never. Be honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself. Always. I hope this helps you, ladies, and any future generation of females. God bless and peace.